Welcome to Hope Does Not Disappoint, a podcast brought to you by the Office of Youth Ministry of the Diocese of Tucson. We invite you to join us as young people engage in meaningful conversations with Bishop Weisenburger, exploring questions about life, faith, and the journey of hope in the context of 2025 Jubilee of
Hi,
Hope.
my name is Alma,
I'm Alana.
I'm Joseph.
and we're here to ask our bishop from the Catholic Diocese of Tucson, Arizona, some questions about active participation in the Catholic Church. For a very long time, we have learned to embrace the beauty in the church, the beauty in the sacraments, and to help us grow in our faith more. We have added traditions, we have added the holidays that we celebrate, and different things to help us grow closer in our relationship with God. Since we know that, and we also participate in a lot of like activities, charities, because we need to show the love that we have for Christ, right? As Jesus told us, faith isn't good without works, and works isn't good without faith. However, unfortunately, there are a lot of people that no longer find that beauty in the church.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I feel like nowadays, like, everything's gotten so, like, blurred from, like, society and stuff like that. Because we're being influenced constantly by social media and, like, our public schools and, politics and stuff like that. We're getting kind of lost in what are some ways that, like, young people can really find, like, strong and, like, encouraging ways to, like, be inspired to be, like a true, hardworking Catholic. Because I feel like if we're just gonna some people are like, oh, I don't want to show up to mass. I'll do it tomorrow. Or like, I'll read my Bible tomorrow. Because it's like, God's always going to be there, you know? Why do it right now, you know? So what are like really, that's what we're wondering, strong, like encouraging examples to be Catholic and stuff.
Yeah, and to continue with that, it's like because people have forgotten that the church is a place of meaning and purpose. It's a place where we find our identity, and people are looking for it, like their meaning elsewhere, outside of the church, and the participation of youth isn't there, and they're looking for that participation elsewhere from the church. And like how she said, we want to know ways of how the youth can be brought into the church and to participate in the church, how they can be drawn into the beauty of Catholicism, and how they could be drawn into its sacraments and participation of the church in ways that we could bring the youth back into it.
Okay, big questions. And it's tempting to think that because I'm the bishop, I have all the answers. If I had all the answers, we probably wouldn't be here because they would be easy. So they are complicated matters, but they're matters that it's good for us to kind of wrestle with and kind of work our way through. And I not only will share my opinions with you, but I'm very open to hearing what you all think as well, because I think that's how our Holy Father is teaching us through synodality, the church works. Now, something that I like to say oftentimes is Christianity was illegal for those first 3 centuries, and it was harassed and persecuted. We had a lot of martyrs. A lot of people died. The Roman culture thought it was bizarre. A man that dies and comes back to life. It makes no sense. But the one thing that they would note is they'd scratch their heads and they'd say, wow, isn't it incredible how they love each other? And when was the last time anybody said about Catholics or Christians in general, wow, look how well they love each other? I always tell people, don't go on the internet and Google the word Catholic. Don't even be tempted. It looks like all we do is fight, hate each other, condemn each other. If I were not a believer and I saw that, I'd probably run the opposite way. In fact, I always say Satan does some of his best work through the internet. But the point is, we will draw people into the depths of the church, not so much, I fear, by our good teaching and telling them what they should be, but by our example. It's when we show our love for the church, that's when people are attracted to the church. You know, we're always looking for a big program. If we just ran a program right, everything would change. In the early church, it was exponential. It started very small, just a little handful of people. In fact, if you read the Gospels carefully, as Jesus would preach to the crowds. Read the Gospels. It's very rare that a crowd is overwhelmed and follows him forever. Usually they fall away. It's one or two people that catch it, and it takes root in them. And then they're an influence for one or two other people. But exponentially, it went to billions. And I think sometimes we think, how do we get people to come back to the church? We got to get a program, and that program will do it. Christianity is not about programs. Christianity is about a relationship with Jesus Christ as it is expressed in our relationships with each other. And so I think the truth is for young people, like in high schools, even in Catholic high schools, the way we really evangelize by kindness, love, and showing how much church means to us. And you may not convert the whole school. And while I would love to convert the whole school, I want to convert the whole school. If we can go back to that kind of exponential way of, I'm going to show this friend of mine or this person in need, especially if it's someone that maybe isn't the most popular, isn't the most influential in the environment. It might be somebody who is kind of on the peripheries, as Pope Francis would say. But taking your time and your energy to show that person your love for the church, not trying to manipulate them into coming, but just show them your love for it. That's what's going to take root in people's hearts. And that's what's going to get us changed. Loneliness is one of the things that is shattering our world and our Western culture. And it's not just that people are practicing Catholicism less. It's all institutions. It's all organized religions. It's all groups. We become very, very individualistic. And as much as I love the technology, and I'm convinced I have to be in constant connection with our pastors of our parishes and the heads of our hospitals and whatnot, that technology sometimes keeps us apart. And then we had the pandemic. And I've ran into so many people who decided to stay at home instead of going back to school and do school from home. And what we're discovering is people are more alone than they've ever been before. And the studies are showing more and more that when we don't have people in our life that love us, when we feel loneliness on that deep level, our life expectancy goes way down. We die at a much earlier age. Now, you might think to yourself right about now, why is the bishop babbling about sociology and psychology? But the truth is, the same is true about religion. I'm always hearing people say I'm spiritual but not religious. I don't believe in organized religion or whatever. It's a cute little saying. It's just, it's incredibly, I fear, untrue. I haven't met that person. Jesus calls everyone into a personal relationship, but he calls no one into a private relationship. In fact, when we become baptized, it's not just a relationship with Jesus. It's a relationship with the church. We're bonded into the body of Christ. And the truth is, I think one of the reasons our culture is disintegrating is we've stopped relating with each other. And we need those in-person relationships, not just to be emotionally healthy, but to be spiritually healthy. And at the end of the day, that's the number one reason why not just young people, but everybody needs church. They really do. And I'm not saying church is perfect. No, we make mistakes. But you need those human relationships. That's how you find faith, and it's how it grows deeper in your life. I would always tell parents, and then I'll stop. I would always tell parents at First Communion and First Confession training, I'd say, remember, the faith is like the stomach flu. It's like a virus. You catch it by coming into contact with others who have it. If you isolate yourself, you'll never catch it. The truth is, we need to come together as people in our culture, in our society, and in our church. And people, even my age, who are healthy and could go to church, and they kind of enjoy clicking on that TV or the internet for an hour instead. Yes, it's tempting. It's kind of like eating dessert 5 times a day. But they don't realize what they're losing by not having those relationships.